for 4 months. Valuable FD.
A very good evening and welcome to Primetime News here on News First, where the people come first. You're joining me, Naveksha Gunasekara, and we start off by taking a look at your headlines.
Many issues emerge in tender to purchase coal for the Lakvijay power station in Norochole. Ashumar Singha files CID complaint. Lawyers demand justice for abused pet dog. Government to consider removing certain goods from import restriction list. 2 people dead following elephant attack. Elephant attack fatalities over the past 5 years exceeds 900. Over 3,000 wild elephants also reported dead. Sri Lanka to celebrate Christmas at midnight. Special security to be provided to churches.
In your top story tonight, while debates are raging about electricity tariff hikes, several concerns have arisen with regard to the tender to purchase coal for the Norochole Lakvijay coal power plant.
On the 12th of December, the Cabinet of Ministers granted approval to commence the procurement of coal for the Norochole Lakvijay coal power plant next year. Accordingly, proposals were called to procure coal from prospective suppliers and government-to-government basis with credit facilities. On the 19th of December, the subject minister presented the cabinet memorandum, hoping to get cabinet approval to procure coal after taking the proposals into consideration. According to the procurement guidelines, only one suitable bidder can be selected after a technical assessment is conducted after calling for proposals. Cabinet approval needs to be requested to procure coal from the relevant qualified bidder. Accordingly, cabinet approval needs to be granted for a definite sum of money. However, this cabinet memorandum by the subject minister is similar to a blank cheque, and granting cabinet approval in this manner is similar to signing a blank cheque. The minister first states that Concept Global PT Anstar Mitra Jaya of Indonesia was selected to supply 720,000 metric tons of coal at a price of $240 per metric ton. According to the cabinet memorandum, it appears that the relevant Indonesian company met the required qualifications in the procurement process and submitted the lowest bid. Accordingly, the memorandum states that cabinet approval should be given to the chairman of the Lanka Coal Company Private Limited to purchase coal from the Indonesian company. However, the memorandum confirms that instead of selecting the lowest bidder, all the bidders who submitted prices were selected by the relevant procurement committee. This is because the minister is seeking cabinet approval to award the contract to the third-ranked supplier, Hearts Australia Proprietary Limited, Australia, if the company that submitted the lowest bid fails to deliver the first coal shipment as scheduled. The minister is hiding the company's bid from the cabinet. The minister recommended to the cabinet that the fourth-ranked supplier, Coral Energy DMCC of the United Arab Emirates, should be awarded the contract if the first and third-ranked suppliers fail without disclosing the company's bid. The minister also refrained from submitting the Technical Evaluation Committee reports related to the entire procurement process to the cabinet. The United Arab Emirates company, which the minister recommends to be chosen as an alternative if first and third-ranked suppliers fail, is involved in controversy regarding the supply of coal to the country. It appears that bids were called from only 4 companies so that an underhand procurement process can be carried out. If the cabinet approves this memorandum, it is clear that this will pave the way for a massive theft of public funds. The Aragale Niyamu organization says it will not allow electricity tariffs to be increased in a manner which burdens the people.
Kanchana Wijesekara is trying to increase electricity tariffs by disregarding the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka Act. He will not be allowed to act arbitrarily this time. The people are aware. If they increase electricity tariffs by force, we know what lessons to teach Kanchana. This government is behaving in a deranged manner. They don't listen to professionals. Electrical engineers have been stressing on the need to place orders for coal. The inexperienced and immature minister took steps to carry out disciplinary actions. Today, one of the 3 generators at the Norochole power plant has shut down. Even now, they haven't placed the required orders. They are only interested in commissions. The electricity tariffs are to be increased twice in the future. Why?
The opposition leader said this at an event held to donate medical equipment worth 3.9 million rupees to the Akarepattu Hospital under the 56th edition of the Samagi Janabalawegya's Husma program.
A group of environmentalists and animal rights activists filed a complaint to the police headquarters today against Professor Ashumar Singha. Now we'll come back after a commercial break with more of this.
News First, main sponsor.
25% for 2 months, 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD. 25% for 2 months, 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD.
Welcome back to the news. Professor Ashumar Singha, who resigned from his position as presidential advisor citing personal reasons yesterday, lodged a complaint with the Criminal Investigations Department today. He was accompanied by a lawyer, while Professor Marasinghe requested that the CID carried out an investigation into the edited video being shared on social media. Meanwhile, environmental groups and animal rights activists have filed a complaint with the police headquarters calling for the law to be enacted against Professor Marasinghe. The following story has extremely disturbing content, but many of our viewers will find horrifying. News First, therefore, requests that all children and sensitive adults leave the room, and we will now pause for 10 seconds to allow them to do so.
After filing the complaint to the CID, Professor Ashumar Singha, who was accompanied by a lawyer, spoke to the media regarding the incident.
මෙම අසත්‍ය කාරණය නීතිය ඉදිරියේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නයක්. ඒ නිසා මගේ නීතිඥතුමා සියලු කාරණා විස්තර කරයි. මම මේ ගැන කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ. නීතිඥතුමා සියල්ල කතා කරනවා.
මාගේ සේවාදායක වන මහාචාර්ය ආශුමාර සිංහ මහතා
A disgusting, false, doctored video regarding my client Professor Ashumar Singha is being circulated on social media platforms. A media briefing was held yesterday presenting several images which distort the facts. My client filed a complaint with the Criminal Investigation Department prior to this happening regarding the existing threat. The threat comes against a backdrop in which my client and a female had a dispute in a company in which they are directors, and a large sum of money was being demanded from my client over the dispute. My client provided another statement to the CID today for further investigations.
එක්තරා කාන්තාවක් අධ්‍යක්ෂ දූරදර්ශන සමාගමක ඇතිවන ආරවුලක් සහ ඒ සමාගමේ ආරවුල මත විශාල මුදල් ප්‍රමාණයක් මාගේ සේවාදායන් ඉල්ලා තිබෙන පසුබිමකයි මෙම කරුණු සිදු වෙන්නේ. දැන් මේ සම්බන්ධව වැඩිදුර විමර්ශන සඳහා අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව වෙත වැඩිදුර ප්‍රකාශයක් අද දින මාගේ සේවාදායක විසින් ලබා දෙන්න ලැබුවා.
A few hours after the resignation of Professor Ashumar Singha, Adarsha Karandana expressed the following views at a press briefing convened by parliamentarian Hirunika Premachandra.
මම දැඩි පීඩනයකට ලක් වෙච්ච කෙනෙක් ආශුමාර සිංහගේ අතින්.
I was severely harassed by Ashumar Singha. Ashumar Singha and I were living together under one roof for almost 2 years. As a woman, I am very ashamed for having to reveal this to the public. This pet dog is named Shiro. I started noticing changes in the dog's behavior. I wanted to know what was happening. I left my phone in the bedroom one day, and that is when I saw this.
ඊට පස්සේ මම මගේ ෆෝන් එක දවසක් කාමරේ බෙඩ්රූම් එකේ තියලා බලනකොට මේ සිදුවීම මම දකින්නේ.
A group of environmentalists and animal rights activists filed a complaint to the police headquarters this afternoon against Professor Ashumar Singha.
This is very serious. I have seen some people taking this as a joke. People with abnormal sexual fantasies are a huge threat to the society. What if we did the same thing to a child? How can we allow a child to walk on the streets when such people are roaming free? How can women walk on the streets with a peace of mind? We can't imagine what this professor would do to his students. This is just one video that was released. Imagine what he must have done with this puppy. Apart from animal cruelty, this is a serious threat to the society.
දරුණු දෙයක් මේ ලොකු ත්‍රෙට් එකක් කියන එක තමයි මට කියන්න තියෙන්නේ.
Secretary of the Kandy Association for Community Protection through Animal Welfare, Champa Fernando, raised concerns about the president's advisor sexually abusing a dog.
Given the high-profile role of the accused, or rather the accused had in decision-making in Sri Lanka, I, as a citizen of Sri Lanka, do hope that this news gets the attention of international media and international animal rights organizations. Despite not having much data, there is a definite link between bestiality and interpersonal violence. Bestiality means having sex with animals. The accused would need psychiatric assessment, and I do hope justice prevails. I also fervently hope that the innocent victim of this human bestiality is receiving veterinary care, treatment and assessment.
Earlier today, in a Facebook post, animal rights group Rally for Animal Rights and Environment Sri Lanka said, bestiality is a crime in Sri Lanka and animal cruelty can be given a 3 months prison sentence under Cruelty to Animals Ordinance of Sri Lanka. In a statement, Anusha David from Rescue Animals Sri Lanka stressed that the recent actions of Professor Mara Singha, advisor to the president, requires immediate punitive action by the president and his government. Anusha David said, abuse of any sort is reprehensible. Abuse of a hapless animal who has no voice is even more deplorable. The fact that this was enacted by a person of repute and one in the government brings disrepute on the government and this country. She said, bestiality is an abhorrence and Professor Mara Singha should be meted out the harshest punishment. She added, this is a slur on the whole country, bringing shame and disgrace to all.
Global animal rights activist group People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, or Peta, yesterday urged the government of Sri Lanka to thoroughly investigate allegations that an advisor to Sri Lanka's president sexually abused a pet dog. Daphna Nachminovic, Senior Vice President of Cruelty Investigations at Peta, United States, said, quote, Peta urges the Sri Lankan government to thoroughly investigate the allegations against the presidential advisor and, if true, punish him to the fullest extent under Sri Lankan laws. People who abuse animals, including sexually, often move on to human victims. End quote.
Then Ashumar Singha sambandhe බලපෑත්වෙන නීතිමය තත්ත්වය මොකක්ද?
Which laws apply to Ashumar Singha's matter? Under clause 365 of the Penal Code, a man or a woman who engages in sexual activities with an animal will serve a prison sentence of 10 years. They must serve that sentence with or without rigorous imprisonment. He must be a subject to a fine. This sentence can be extended to 20 years. The Penal Code very clearly mentions this crime. As of now, we only have information from internal police sources. The director of the CID and high-ranking officials are having discussions as to what should be done about the media that revealed this. Legal action cannot be taken against media institutions for the images and videos of Ashumar Singha that are released and going viral. Now they are focusing on what can be done about the media institutions that reported on this. President Ranil Wickremesinghe is taking wrong steps day by day. He doesn't realize that he is making a mistake. There is a large group of people who are waiting for him to fail. Why? It is because he is not a president appointed by the people.
දැන් මේ වෙනකොට වයිරල් වෙලා යන ආශුමාර සිංහගේ ඒ වීඩියෝ පටය ගැන ඒ අදාළ ජනමාධ්‍ය ආයතනවලට එරෙහිව නීතිමය ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගන්න බෑ. මේ කාරණාව
The CID and the President's close associates have influenced the media institute that revealed this matter. They want to take action against this media institution. It is not the media institutions that reveal these wrongs that need to be punished. The President should instead act on the behavior of the people in high positions who have the power to influence the daily lives of the citizens.
හැසිරීම සම්බන්ධයෙන්ුයි මේ ජනාධිපතිවරයා ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්න ඕන.
The matter is also being discussed in the political arena.
Looking at this, the world is laughing. His resignation is not enough. If the advisors are acting in this manner, the people are concerned about how the leaders are behaving. He must be punished. Ranil and the Rajapakshas have always taken measures to suppress the people. Today, that abuse has been extended to dogs. This country must be saved from such people.
මේ රටේ බල්ලෙක්වත් දැන් ආරක්ෂාව නැහැ කියන එකයි එකෙන් පේන්නේ මේ රජයේ ක්‍රියාකාර වැඩේ හින්දා සුනකෙකුටවත් ආරක්ෂාවක් නැහැ සුනකෙකුටත් නිසි ගෞරවය ලැබෙන්නේ නැහැ කියන.
ඒකට මතතුමා මේ වගේ පුද්ගලයින්ට යම් දඬුවමක් දීමේ එහෙම හැකියාවක් තියෙනවද ඔබතුමා?
පිස්සු බල්ලෙක් දාලා හප්පවන්න ඕනේ.
ඒකට මතතුමා මේ දැන් අපිට ආරංචියක් තියෙනවා මේව මාධ්‍ය වාර්තා කරපුවාට දඬුවම් කරන්න හදනවා.
ඒව දඬුවම් කරන්න බෑනේ කරලා බලන්න කියන්නකෝ. නීතිය අතට ගන්න දෙන්න බෑ ඒගොල්ලෝ.
රටක රාජ්‍ය නායකයෙක් Tamanට උපදෙස්.
A leader of a country must select an advisor for consultation. But Ranil, instead of getting advice, is sharing experiences. This shows the weakness of a leader. Ranil can send these people as ambassadors to other countries. Not just the advisor, Ranil Wickremesinghe must also resign. Is Ranil functioning in the same manner as his advisors? This country has laws. Implement them now. Ranil is the lawyer that speaks about democracy. Enact the law on your advisor. The people of the country are watching.
ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය ගැන කතා කරන මහ ලොකු ලෝයර් රනිල් දැන් තමන්ගේ උපදේශකයාගේ වැරද්දට නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න එන. ඒ නිසා රටක මිනිස්සු බලන් ඉන්නවා දැන් මේවා දිහා.
ඊටම අප්‍රසන්න, ඊටම පිළිකුල් සහගත ප්‍රවෘත්තියක්.
It is an unpleasant and a disgusting piece of news that a politician sexually abused a pet. The next slogan will refer to politicians who sold state resources without even sparing a dog. This is no joke. This illustrated just how low society has fallen. It is a crisis for the president personally, as it is his senior political advisor. No one can reduce the shamefulness of this act.
ජනාධිපතිවරයාට පුද්ගලිකවම ඔහුගේ දේශපාලන ජ්‍යෙෂ්ඨ උපදේශකයා නිසා දැන් බරපතල අර්බුදයක්. ඒක තියෙන ලැජ්ජාසහගතභාවය කිසි ලෙසක කිසිම මාත්‍රාවකින් කිසියෙකුට අඩු කරන්න පුළුවන් එකක් නෙමෙයි.
ඔබතුමා විශ්වාස කරන්නේ නැද්ද රටේ තීන්දුව తీරන ගන්න තැන්වල යහපත් මානසිකත්වයක් තියෙන පිරිසක් සිටිය යුතුයි කියලා?
මේක එක පැත්තකින් මේ අර අපි කියනවා wake up call එකක්. බරපතල.
This is a wake up call to a society that is in deep sleep. It is a serious matter and a serious allegation.
ඊටාම බරපතල කාරණාවක් එළවෙච්ච ඊටාම නින්දනීය ඇඟිලි දිගුවක් තමයි ඒ සිද්ධ වුනේ.
The human-elephant conflict is indicative of the ineptitude of the politicians and responsible authorities of our country. The political authority and officials have yet failed to resolve this conflict. More than 900 people and more than 3,000 elephants have died in the last 5 years due to the human-elephant conflict. The country lost 2 precious human lives due to this unresolved conflict. A husband and wife who lived in Tittagoneva, Siambalagasweva village in Kabitigoleva made ends meet through their meager daily wage and farming incomes. They also had to make sure their daughter, who is differently abled, and her little girl never went hungry as well. This couple, who should be spending their old age at peace, spent it in the fields instead. They decided to spend the night protecting their field after returning home from their daily wage work. But a lone elephant stole their dreams forever.
අලි තර්ජන නොයෙකුත් විදිහට රැයට ළමයෙක් කරන් පන්තියකට යන්න බෑ කුඹරකට යන්න බෑ හේනක් පිරවකට යන්න බෑ කොයි වෙලාවෙත් බැලුවත් අලිම බලධාරීන්ගෙන් ඉල්ලන්නේ මේ අලි ප්‍රශ්නෙට විසඳුමක් දෙන්න කියලා.
People of Mahyanganaya are lamenting the loss of their only source of income amidst the worsening economic crisis. These are the farmers of Mahyanganaya. These people tell us that the elephants that remain around the Mahavali river raid the villages at night. The effect of elephants has increased in the villages including Gangeaya, Gurumada, Sorabora and Megahapitiya. These farmers attempt to find at least one meal by farming their fields during these tough times when they are made even more desperate by the situation in the country.
The government has not given us any solution to this issue. For many years now, especially during the past 6 years, the elephant population has increased. This place is at the verge of destruction. Last harvesting season, they ate 56 bundles of mine. All this happens and the authorities are silent.
All is ready to begin distributing books and stationery items donated by you over the course of December to school students battered by the economic crisis. The Sirasa Shakti Potyatra book donation drive starts on Christmas Day, which is tomorrow, and a big thank you to all of you who joined us this December to spread the joy of Christmas.
The Sirasa Shakti Potyatra commenced with the participation of His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit and Bishop of the Church of Ceylon, Right Reverend Tushanta Rodrigo. The Sirasa Shakti Potyatra book donation drive aims to distribute books, colouring books, pencils, pastels, rulers, colour pencils and other stationery items to school students who have been affected by the economic crisis. The collection process for the Sirasa Shakti Potyatra started on the 1st of December. The public were given the opportunity to donate these items to the head office of the Capital Maharaja Group in Colombo 2, the Depanama Studio Complex, Stein Studios in Ratmalana, the Echelon Square in Colombo and to the Kandy City Centre. The Sirasa Shakti Potyatra book donation drive will head out to Kurunegala and Kandy tomorrow.
News First with the people.
Senior DIG in charge of the Western Province, Deshabandhu Tennakone, says 75% of the crimes committed in the Western Province are drug-related.
A program to provide dry rations to those addicted to ice and heroin in Boralla, Kurunduwatta, Kolpiti and Bambalipiti police areas were held this morning at Sangamita Girls College under the leadership of Senior Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of the Western Province, Deshabandhu Tennakone.
There are approximately 25,000 drug addicts in Colombo. Around 40% stay clean from drugs after being rehabilitated in Sri Lanka's rehabilitation centres. However, others fail to break the habit. We have to look for an alternative to rehabilitation. This program attempts to help the drug user by keeping them in their own homes, societies and communities and changing them there. 75% of the crimes committed, not just in Colombo, are due to this drug menace. Either the victim was involved in drugs or the person who committed the crime is involved in drugs or the motive for the crime is drug related.
Crime Watch.
A 26-year-old man was injured in a shooting incident last night at Alpitia in Gaul. The police said that two people on a motorcycle fired at the victim and fled the scene. After being admitted to the Alpitia hospital for treatment, the young man who was injured in the shooting was admitted to the Karapitia hospital for further treatment. A person named Nimesh Madhushankar, a resident of Karandana Jaibima area, was injured in this shooting. The Gaul Criminal Investigation Division is conducting investigations. The Senior Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of the Southern Province, Ajit Rohana, said 69 special armed police teams have been deployed to fight crime in the south. He said 15 people have been killed in shootings in the Southern Province this year. 18 people have been arrested so far.
Crime Watch.
Biz Fast.
The government is considering removing certain goods from the import restrictions list.
State Minister of Finance Dr. Ranjit Siambalapitiya said there are many goods that can be manufactured locally among the 670 types of goods that are subject to import restrictions. Therefore, according to the State Minister, the government is considering relaxing the import restrictions on goods that can be manufactured locally. According to the State Minister, owing to the severe foreign exchange crisis in the country, although import restrictions were imposed on 1,465 types of goods, the restrictions on 795 goods have been removed so far.
The Russian ambassador to Sri Lanka paid a special visit to the Pinnavala Elephant Orphanage this morning.
The K-Gaul District Hotel Association organized the program with the aim of promoting tourism in Pinnavala. Russian ambassador to Sri Lanka, Levan Zagarian, paid a special visit to the Pinnavala Elephant Orphanage and its surroundings.
Today, 18,000 Russian tourists have arrived by direct flights. We have seen that of those 18,000, very few have visited Pinnavala. In the past, 70% of tourists came here. Russians could definitely visit Pinnavala. That is why the ambassador visited this place today. He is very happy. 6 direct flights from Russia are reaching Katunayaka. But that's not enough. From the 29th of December, 2 flights will arrive at the Mattala airport every week.
News overseas. Sitoveni Rabuka has become Fiji's 12th Prime Minister, ending a tense political stalemate that had gripped the small Pacific island nation in the days following an undecisive election outcome this month.
The Fijian parliament in the capital of Suva convened on Saturday to vote in Rabuka, who is now holding the Prime Minister's job for a second time. The 74-year-old said he felt humbled as he made his way out of parliament after winning the nomination over the incumbent Prime Minister. Parliamentary Speaker announced that the two-time coup leader and former Prime Minister narrowly triumphed over the incumbent Prime Minister by 28 votes to 27 in a secret ballot. The incumbent president later thanked his Fijian First Party and supporters, saying, "This is democracy and this is my legacy," adding that he hoped to continue in government as leader of the opposition.
The random coronavirus testing of international arriving passengers started at the Delhi airport on Saturday, that is the 24th.
The random coronavirus testing of international arriving passengers started at the Delhi airport on Saturday as authorities set up measures to prevent possible spread of the infection in the country. 2% of passengers arriving in each international flight will be subject to random COVID-19 testing at airports. Such travellers in each flight shall be identified by the airlines concerned, and after submitting the sample, passengers will be allowed to leave the airport. Thermal screening will be done for all passengers at the airport of entry, and those found by symptomatic during screening will be immediately isolated.
Drawing your attention once again to local news, to one of our headline-making stories tonight. The Randi Foundation, a strong voice for animal welfare, says it strongly condemns the act allegedly committed against an animal by Professor Ashumar Singha. The statement adds that it urges the government to thoroughly investigate the allegations, and if true, the fullest force of the law must be used against Professor Mara Singha. Moving on to more local news, in the spirit of the season, Gammadda lent a helping hand to those in need in the Colombo district today.
Many of Sri Lanka's citizens are living their daily lives amidst hardships and struggles. Gammadda took steps to lend a helping hand to those in need in the Colombo district today. They visited the Hangwella, Kahahena and Allakanda areas. Together with infrastructure projects for villages across the island, Gammadda and the generous people of Sri Lanka are ready to provide relief to the worst affected. You are the strength of Gammadda.
Only a few hours are left before celebrating Christmas that commemorates the birth of Jesus Christ. The Sri Lankan Christian community is ready alongside Christians all over the world to welcome Christmas. On that note, we conclude our news broadcast, wishing you all a Merry Christmas. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Naveksha Gunasekara, and thank you for watching.
The St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican is preparing for the Christmas Mass. Sri Lankan churches across the country are also ready for their respective Christmas services.
The IGP has advised all the senior Deputy Inspector Generals of Police and the Deputy Inspector Generals of Police and all other officers in charge of police stations to provide adequate security for church masses across the country.
People all over the country are eagerly awaiting the dawn of Christmas.